Hello, this is Steve Hermann. I am the author of Mediumship Mastery, the Ultimate Guide, which is available on Amazon. This is my book on mediumship development, and the whole purpose of my YouTube channel is mediumship training and helping you to be a better medium, helping those who watch my videos to be more effective and efficient vehicles for the spirit world to work through. So when someone starts getting into mediumship, they start sitting in a mediumship development circle. What happens? Well, their energy starts to blend with the other members of the circle, and their energy also starts to blend with those in the spirit world. And circles are great because you have the increased vibration. You start to pay attention as you calm your mind. You relax your physical body, you calm your mind, then your mind's receptive. And when your mind's receptive, the spirit helpers who work with you, just remember, they're learning how to work with you, just like you're learning how to work with them. They put things into your head. All communication from the spirit world with mental mediumship is mind-to-mind telepathic. So we're going to talk a little bit about psychic symbology and how they use symbols, how they use imagery to convey wonderful, inspirational, and helpful, beneficial messages for people here in the physical world. So we know that the psychic senses correspond to our 5 physical senses, and when you get imagery in your head, it's impressed in your mind. Sometimes what you experience, it just seems like it's your own thoughts. And one way in which it works, and I talk a lot about this in my book, I have a whole chapter on psychic shorthand, how to work with symbols. Well, symbology is a way of doing it. One picture is literally worth 1,000 words. So common questions that students of mediumship will ask is, my God, I'm getting all these images. I can't figure out what they mean. How do I interpret these things? How do I translate correctly and accurately the information that I'm receiving from the spirit world? And what I always tell people is your system, the vocabulary that is developed with the world of spirit, the spirit team, the specialists who are working with you, it's very, very, very unique, and it's different for each individual because they literally will use what's in your own mind as a frame of reference, what your background is, your education, your life experience, all of these things. But when it comes to symbols, a particular symbol or image may mean something quite strongly and distinctly to me, but those of you who are watching may literally have another interpretation to what that particular symbol would be. So I always tell students, when you get an image, what does it mean to you? Now, if you got some type of symbol in your head and you're thinking, well, I have to be accurate with this. If you're learning this, what I would suggest is, to the best of your ability, try to put it into words what you feel the symbol or what the image means. Now keep in mind, with any clairvoyant imagery, there is always going to be a feeling that goes along with it, generally speaking. So let's just say, for example, you saw the image in your head of a beach ball. Now, what do most people associate beach balls with? Playing, leisure time at the beach, this type of thing. There's probably other meanings that people might have. It's not like there's one correct interpretation. And you could tell that to a lot of people. You need to play more. It's a bit generic, but that's how they train you. They start out with things that are pretty basic. Of course, you might see a beach ball for someone, and that might be quite literal. Perhaps the uncle of the recipient of the communication literally used to run a company that manufactured beach balls. So that could be very, very evidential. But when we get symbols, they can be literally multi-layered in terms of the meanings that might be there. For example, you see an image of a red rose. Well, what does a red rose mean to you? And most people, when they think of a red rose, they think of love, romantic love that someone has. I remember I was talking about this once in a workshop, and someone raised their hand. They said, well, whenever I see red roses, I think of death. Why? Because people put red roses on the coffins of those who have departed. So rose, or just an image of a red rose could mean a lot of things. Of course, a different colored rose might mean something completely different. But if we think about a rose, is it just limited to the sense of love from the spirit world? Well, we think of the rose. We also can think of the name Rose. So we could have someone coming through from the spirit world. Her name was Rose. And we look at all of these beautiful flowers. Really the love that she's bringing in from the spirit world that's conveyed through that rose. Maybe she really loved roses. She passed into the world of the spirit the month when roses bloomed. She had them all over her coffin. And when we look at the flower, we see the stem, we see all the thorns. And if we look at this, we might be able to interpret that the individual in spirit went through a lot of personal hardship and struggle, quite painful. And yet there's this beautiful resolution to the situation with the flower, with all the beautiful petals at the end. So of course, that may also, not just with the person in spirit, but with the recipient, may refer to situations that they're going through in life at the time they receive the communication. So all of this information and even more can be conveyed just through presenting one image. It's very helpful if you start to get into this, you're learning mediumship, to make a list of all the different symbols you get. I remember one time, many decades ago, when I was sitting for development, I was working in another job at the time, and I had a lot of spare time on my hands, and I just made a whole list. I think there was like 400 or 500 symbols that literally at that time they were working with me, and I just wrote them all out and thought about them. Of course, that increased. Your mediumship's not static. It's going to evolve. It's going to expand as you become a stronger, more experienced instrument for them to work through. But I would suggest, you take notes of these types of things. And if you're not sure of what something means, don't be afraid of goofing it up. Just, if you're giving it out or share it with another person, put it into the words in the best way that you can. I had this one class once, which I was teaching, and this one guy, he was pretty excited about it. And he always was asking, how can I improve things? How can I improve things? And he asked that one time to the class. I said, well, you really want to get better at interpretation of symbols. Go purchase a book on symbols. And, look at the definitions within the book. It'll help you. It'll expand your ideas about it. And this is exactly what he did. He went to the bookstore at the mall the next day. He got this really thick book, Encyclopedia of Symbols, and he memorized the entire book over a few days. After that, his team of helpers in the spirit world worked with him that way. We don't need to necessarily do that, but that studying symbology, on a universal level, what particular symbols mean in certain countries, certain religions, certain backgrounds. Symbols vary depending where you are. The same imagery may mean something different. A snake, if you go to Asia, good luck. It means good things. But here in Europe or other places, oh my gosh, it's like a sign of evil. So it really just depends where you're located. So you want to work on yourself, and definitely start working with the symbols and see what happens. Let me know if you've got any ideas about this or your own experiences. Feel free to add it, some comments. Feel free to get hold of me. I teach a lot of online courses. I do a lot of work in person worldwide. I do individualized mentoring, and of course I've got my book, Mediumship Mastery. Please get in touch with me. If you like this video, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. And thank you all very much, and God bless each and every one of you.